What is up, guys, everybody? So, we're a day late, but we're definitely here to discuss The Last Resort. Episode 2. Since it airs the same night as The Other Way, we figure we need a little bit of time to, hey, Portuguese Princess, need a little bit of time in between so people can catch up and watch the show. So, we're a day late, but we still have a lot to talk about. Episode 2 of The Last Resort. Cara and DeeDee will be joining us soon. I think Cara's here. Episode last night. I watched it and wow. Right? Wow, right? I can't wait to get into this. Hey!
Hey!
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Donna's
Hi.
here. Hey, DeeDee. Hey, DeeDee, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing?
I'm good. So, Portuguese Princess said she watched it this morning. So, I watched it last night and wow, right? This was crazy. Watching the interaction between everyone was wild. And I definitely want to, there's so much I want to get into because I feel like the double standard between Asuelo and Kalani, how he's upset that she's continuing a relationship and talking to him, but he doesn't see how what he did is comparable. Hey Jamie, love you. Is comparable to what she did. And I don't know, there's just so much I want to get into. I don't know where you guys want to start. I'm going to let you guys start because once I get started, I'll never stop. So where do you guys want to start?
Well,
Let's get big.
we got to save the best for the last. Okay, we got to save what Big Ed did.
Okay.
We got to save that for last.
Okay, so we're gonna save Big Ed for last. So should we get into the birth control talk? Should we get into that? Because a lot of people are divided. As I was on Twitter and I was going through all the tweets, and some people feel that she should have told Jovi she was on birth control, but then a lot of people feel it's her body, it's her choice. She would be carrying that baby, not him. If she's not ready to have a baby and he is, it's her body. She carries it when she's ready. So who's right and who's wrong? Is it, first of all, do you have to tell the person you're married to if you're on birth control or not? Do you have to tell them that?
I mean, I would.
So you would. Okay. So do you, but is it their business or is it just because you want them to know?
It's a respect thing.
Okay.
I also feel like he knew. This is just for show. There's no way he didn't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, birth control, well, there's so many different forms. Because I was going to say, if it's in pill form, you take it every day. It's kind of hard to hide that.
Yeah.
You know, to hide that you're doing that every day. But I know that there's forms where it can be inserted. There's implants. There's shots. There's so many different ways. So it is possible that you could be on a form of birth control and your spouse doesn't know.
Yeah.
But you know, we encountered this with Gino and Jasmine on their last season. Jasmine was on birth control. Now we fully understand why. She's just not ready, right? Like she said back then, it was because their relationship was rocky. They were having too many problems. But in actuality, she just doesn't want another child. And I respect her for that. You know, I respect her decision. But telling him after the fact, everybody was like, oh, she should have told him. But I don't know if I agree or not, because I still feel like if she doesn't want to have, if the woman in general doesn't want to have another child, you know, a man can say he does, but he's not going to go through labor. He's not going to carry that child. He's not going to go through the doctor's appointments. He's not going to go through all these giving blood every month and doing all of the things that come along with it. That's all the woman's job. So I feel like if she's not ready to do that stuff, that's her business. And it's like getting married. People think that, you know, decisions are just made together. But I feel like when it comes to a woman and her body, I think she still has the opportunity and choice to make those decisions without her husband. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
So
You're right. Because if I did not want another child, but my husband wants another child, you know, I would be like, look, until we have a common mutual agreement, I'm just going to be on birth control because I'm not going to do something I don't feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to look at it, because let's be honest, Jovi has a job where he's gone half the year.
Yeah.
So more than half of her pregnancy, if he's is shipped out, he wouldn't even be there to be there to support or see or go through any of it with her. So I just feel like Yara needs to be ready. And I think one child is a lot of work as it is, because she's kind of a single mom. Because, you know, when he's gone out working 6 months out of the year, it's like, I think it's every other month, right?
Yeah.
So literally 6 months out of the year, she's a single mom. And then they went and moved farther away from his mother, Gwen. So she doesn't even have like in-house support. And I feel like people really underestimate the amount of work you have to put in to raise a child, especially a baby. Like, there's a lot of work. There is no time for sleeping. Hey, Judy. There's no time for eating. There's no time. Like, literally, moms will show up places and you're like, oh, man, you look like crap. And she's like, I know. I've been up all night. I've been taking care of this child. I've been doing all this stuff. I don't have time to take care of myself because I'm taking care of this innocent person who can't do literally anything on their own. And I think people really underestimate that. And Jovi's just like, oh, well, I would love to have another child. When would you be present for this other child? Because it's like, I already feel like 6 months out of 12 isn't even like fully present in the child's life, right? I feel like there's so much that you're missing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's definitely a respect thing. I mean, I would tell my spouse just out of respect, whether he liked it or not. I'm on birth control, and sorry you don't like that.
I like that. I mean, I think that honesty is the best policy. You shouldn't do things behind each other's backs. And what do you think about Yara saying that she felt like Jovi would have got her pregnant even though he knew she didn't want that? She felt like, even though I know you're fully aware of how I feel, you would get your way and do it anyway. And that's a really strong feeling of distrust, to think that your spouse would do something like that to you. And it really made me think about it, because I was like, if she really believes he would go and get her pregnant knowing that she's not ready, that's a lot of distrust. You really don't trust that that person has your best interest at heart, right?
That's when my spouse would be sleeping on the couch permanently at someone else's house.
I mean,
well, and she has a right not to trust him too, because if you remember last season, whenever they were over visiting her mom, he said that he thinks that's the only way that they would be able to save their marriage is by them having another child.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I would think he would get me pregnant too.
That's
just out of spite.
Possible thing to believe, though, because children, they test the foundation of your relationship. You know, the foundation of how well you get along and how well you love each other is tested by having a child. Yeah. So if he's like, oh, well, our relationship is not going well, so having a child would be the only thing to fix it, I feel like it would push it over the edge. You know, if you're on the cliff, having that child, unfortunately, is gonna shove you over that cliff, because the support that you need to give the other person and give each other when you have a child, if it's not there before, it's really gonna become evident where you're lacking. And hopefully they can get their relationship in order. Because did you see in the preview that Yara made the comment, I couldn't believe you would bring someone else into my bed?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? Because that really caught my attention. And I've been looking on blogs. I've been looking on Instagram. I was like, is somebody going to explain to me what she means by that? Like, what does that mean?
I think he's trying to set it up for a thrisome. That's what I think. But I don't know.
But was she referring to, like, at the resort? Or was this, like, something that happened in the past? Because I was like, when did this happen?
I don't know.
Knowing Jovi, he's probably cheated on her. I mean, I'm not saying that's what he's done. But, you know, hanging out, you know, going to strip clubs and, you know, drinking, that's the only thing I can think of. Because I don't see Jovi and Yara having an open relationship like that to bring in another woman or another man into the bedroom. I don't see that.
No, they're not. They're jealous. Like, I don't know. I don't see them being okay with that on either side. I know Jovi loves his strip clubs. He loves his strippers, but looking is one thing. Going through with it, that would be crazy. And I feel like bringing an extra person into the relationship, like let's break into that real quick. I feel like a strong relationship and a strong foundation is needed, because look what happened with Kalani and Asuela. Like, bringing another person in and then feelings become to building into that, it makes things super complicated. So a lot of people are like, oh, let's just do the threesome and then it'll be over. How many times have we seen it play out where the person who they brought in starts to re-emerge and cause massive issues? in that relationship. Okay, so Donna says she doesn't see Yara participating in a threesome. I don't either. I don't either. So
see it. I don't see it. But the fact that Jovi took Yara to a strip club to show her what it was like, and she flipped out, I feel like it's not above him to try to set something like that up and think it's going to be okay. But also, maybe she caught him with Angela. Who knows?
Oh, Angela. Well, I mean,
oh my gosh.
when she brought it up and they were yelling about it at the resort, I was like, wait, so did he try to sleep with somebody at the resort? And then I was like, was it somebody who's there for the show? Like, my mind just started going a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, well, could it possibly be somebody that's on the show with them? I was like, I just started going all over. I was like, or, because I was like, she seems really pissed off for it to be something that happened in the past. Like, she was in the moment pissed. So I was like, that seems like something that he did. And the way that he was sitting on the bed in the corner looking at the wall, like thinking about what he did, it seemed very fresh. So I don't know if TLC is pulling our leg, you know, because they do pull our leg quite a bit. They word things on purpose to make it seem like it's more than it is. But I was just really taken off guard because I was like, Jovi and Yara, I think, had the strongest relationship. Like, when I thought going into the couples on this show, I felt like they had the most opportunity for success than anybody else. Like, we're watching Molly and Kelly, and it just seems like their relationship ended a while ago. Like, because Molly said, can you believe I'm seeing him after all these months? So there was months that passed by where they hadn't seen each other, and now they're on the show. And you can really tell the tension between them is really high. And I do feel like, okay, so do you guys feel like Molly is looking for a guy to come in and take control and be in charge, right? And I feel like Kelly is more so a laid back, go with the flow type guy. And I feel like, is it necessary for a man to always be the one that takes the lead? Or do you think that you can have a relationship where sometimes you take the lead, he takes the lead? Or what do women prefer? Like, is it a preferred thing, or does it work better when the guy's always in charge?
I don't know.
I'd say 50-50.
Yeah, I'd say 50-50.
I mean, I think it's probably exhausting to always be the one who has to take control and make the plans and figure out where you're going to go, what you're going to eat, what trips you're going to take, what you're going to do. I feel like it should always be a team effort. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, the man is always supposed to be in charge. He's always supposed to take the lead. I was like, I feel like that's like hundreds of years ago, right? I feel like we're not really in that point where the man needs to be paying for everything, working, taking the woman out, pulling the chair out for her. Those are things that you should do as a respectful guy. But I don't think that it's like necessary for you to always have to be the one to sweep her off her feet. I feel like we're in a time period now where we can do those things for each other. It doesn't always have to be one-sided. And I know a lot of guys, I hear people say it all the time. They're like, I want to be, you know, what's the word? Swept off my feet, or I want to be taken out for dinner every now and then. Like, sometimes guys want to be, you know, the one that's getting spoiled every now and then, because guys tend to always be the ones doing the spoiling. So it's like, I think we're at a time where you can really show your partner, regardless of gender, how important they are. Yeah. Like, just take them out, make them feel special. And I don't know if the being in charge thing is the main issue between Molly and Kelly. We're too early on, you know, into knowing what their problems are. This is just what they've told us. But I feel like that's not a huge deal for it to be where it is, because I know Molly is a hard-working woman. I know that she's got like 1 billion jobs and she's super busy. So I think the idea of having a guy who's retired, who kind of, she said, sat on the couch and played video games, didn't fit into her lifestyle. I totally understand that. But it's at the same time, it's not always about working and taking care of each other. Sometimes it's about respecting what the other person is doing. Because he did work as a cop, which is super scary, a Brooklyn cop, right? Like New York City. So there's a lot of craziness happening all the time. So I think he might be taking that time to relax and take a step back from the dangerous lifestyle and maybe just figure out his next move. You know, sometimes people look at it like, well, what are you going to do now? What's your next move? What's your plan? Sometimes people need time to figure that out. Like, it doesn't come like super easy for everyone. Some people have had a plan for their life since they were 10.
Yeah.
And then some people, it takes time. They have to think about it, decide what they want to do, what they want to work on, who they want to be. And, those things takes time. And I don't know if Molly is giving Kelly enough time to figure out his next move. So I feel like him ending his career in law enforcement was probably a huge deal.
Yeah.
So I feel like he really needs to really find himself and what he really wants to do.
What was really the bitch? Like, he didn't mow the lawn right. I mean, I didn't hear a lot of, he's super lazy, he sleeps late, he doesn't, it's like, there wasn't a lot of, I mean, it just seemed, if I had a retired cop who retired and moved states to be with me, and he didn't want to mow the lawn on Saturday, then the grass is going to freaking grow. Oh, well. Like, it just seems like she's making mountains out of molehills. Again, we don't know the whole story.
Right,
but
yeah.
That's what it seems like right now.
Yeah, I agree. DeeDee, how you feel?
I don't think Molly actually wants any man that she's in a relationship with to come in and take 100% full control, but at least meet her halfway. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to, because we all know, I mean, she does everything. She does a lot of things. She's always busy. Yeah. At least meet her halfway. At least, do like a 50-50. And if you're one of these guys that's just, because, she has got a lot of money, she's got her own home or whatever, you're just going to take advantage, then that's totally different. I'm not saying that's what Kelly did. I'm not saying that. But as what I'm saying is, for Molly to act the way she was acting, something else was going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, what you were saying, it can definitely be perceived that way. She has a lot going for herself, her business, her everything that she's doing. She's touring. She does so much. So it could appear to be, he's just inserted himself into that lifestyle.
Yeah.
It could look that way. And like we said, we don't know if that's what happened or not, because, retiring from a job you've done your whole life, you do need a little time to regroup. You need a little time to figure out what you want to do next. So I don't, because he's so much younger than a typical person who retires. So I feel like,
and also, like, she was saying that, he had goals, he was ambitious, he wanted to do a lot of things whenever he was in New York, and then whenever he got to Atlanta, where she lives, it just stopped. Well, I mean, I get, you work, you had a very dangerous job, but whenever you moved to Atlanta to be with her, or vice versa, if she were to have moved to Atlanta to New York, if she wanted to take time off to recuperate, to clear her mind, you guys need to sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Not just start, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not just start doing it without communicating. Because in any kind of relationship, I don't care who you are, it's got to be 50-50. One or the other cannot have all of the responsibility.
Yeah.
You've got to work it out.
It's never going to work. Okay, so Asuelo seems to think that having a relationship with the person that Kalani slept with is worse than, hey, Scott, is worse than him getting a BJ from a random, well, I'll say random, that's not nice, but a girl that he doesn't have any communication with anymore. So he looks at it as, what I did is a little less bad because it was a hit it and quit it. And what you're doing is building feelings. How do you guys feel about that? Because Kalani thinks that is complete BS. She sees it as cheating is cheating. It's the same exact thing. It doesn't really matter. I kind of agree with Kalani, but I want to see where you guys land.
I mean, I agree with Kalani to an extent, but I don't know. That man-child, I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want to raise him.
And we all know that he's been cheating on Kalani since day one. Yeah. I mean, we all know it. And then, to get caught the way he got caught, and we all know, I mean, he's a little whore is what he is. You know what I'm saying? He's a little guy whore.
Well, see, I didn't know that. You actually think that a man is going to cheat on a woman and then just completely stop talking to that woman or them women? No.
No.
technically, if he met the person like on a dating app, that is kind of what people do nowadays. They like hook up and then they don't call each other anymore.
Yeah, but let's be real. We all know who this said person is.
Thank you.
There's it was no dating app. I mean,
So,
this was
what do you guys think? Because it's out. I'm gonna just tell everyone it's out. The post went out. The guy that Kalani was with, her hall pass guy, is going to be on the show.
nice.
He's going to make an appearance on the show. How do you guys feel about that? Because is it okay to bring the person that you're, I don't know, cheating with to couples therapy? Like, what's the logic here?
Is it okay to bring your kids and your freaking sister to couples therapy?
Well, no.
Might as well.
I wouldn't bring the person that I was having a relationship with, the new person. I wouldn't do that because you are stooping lower than the one that caused the issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're throwing what's the word in English? Crap. You're making the fire bigger, whatever you want to call them things in English. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you're stooping lower than the person that started the whole mess.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I think I know why Kalani is doing it, but then again, I could be wrong. But Asuelo ain't even trying to fix the problem. He's more worried about is his thing bigger than his, and is he better in bed? I mean, not once have I heard him yet ask Kalani, well, what do I need to do to make it better? Or what can we do to sit down and make it better? That's all he talks about. Is his thing bigger than mine? Is he better in bed? I mean, like,
that's a good point.
Like, seriously?
That's a good point because he keeps saying he's sorry. And I think Kalani said it. She's like, I don't want to hear that anymore. Like, if I don't want to hear that, show me something different. And like you said, he's not doing anything different. All he's trying to do is he's like, I want you to stop talking to this person. It's almost like he wants her to make all the changes. And I was like, you guys are here because of your actions. I hate to say this because Ed said it on the episode, and I don't like to agree with Ed, but he was like, you cheated. First and foremost, your problems were created by you. Mm-hmm. You don't get to cry and become the victim in this situation. Not only did he create a situation, he told Kalani, gave her permission to go find a random person and kiss him. Yeah. So I was like, again, you can't be the victim. And I hated that Ed was right. I was like, two wrongs don't make a right. He was right about that too. But the fact that he's crying and I'm like, I'm so hurt. This is terrible. This is making me feel sad. And I'm like, bro, you did this. Everything that your relationship is going through were caused by you, your decisions. So I was like, the only thing that needs to be fixed is what you've done. And he's like, well, I want you to stop talking to this guy. And I'm like, well, her stop talking to the guy doesn't change the fact that you cheated on her first. Yeah. Okay? Like, it doesn't change the fact that your actions, the guy wouldn't exist if you wouldn't have cheated on her first. She wasn't looking for another guy. Yeah. You put it in her head after you made her feel like crap and cheated on her. And it's like, I really don't like the way he just pulls out the tears and he's just like, I gave up so much and I left Samoa so I could have a life with you. And I'm like, but then you cheated on her. Yeah. Like, none of that has any standing in this situation because of your most recent actions. Like, yeah, you did leave your family. You did leave your country. You did do all that. But you cheated on her. With her, you have 2 children. So everything that you say from this point on, I don't even care because you did this. And instead of trying to fix it, like you said, and taking steps to be a better man and making sure that this situation is rectified, he's asking, do you have feelings for him? Was it better? Is he attractive? Like, all of that is irrelevant. Like, that's literally irrelevant.
She follows it up with, would it make you feel better if I block him? Yeah, of course it would. What a stupid thing to say. Like, all of this is so stupid. It's just, I'm so irritated with this whole show. It's all so stupid. The only thing that I've heard any good out of this entire show is when Angela said, wow, this made me really look at how I'm acting. That's the only good that came out of Kalani and Asuelo.
Yeah, I saw that too. She said it because she was like, I don't have any remorse for Michael. He was talking to other women. And she was like, I won't forgive him. I have no compassion for him. I just scream at him every chance I get. And she finally realized, she was like, I'm sitting here feeling sorry for a cheater.
Yeah.
A guy who physically cheated on his wife, right? And she's like, I can't even give Michael half of a care to even think of forgiving him. So it's like Angela making strides in the right direction is something that we didn't even know could happen. So if taking this story with Kalani and Asuelo, and she got that out of it, we're winning at this point.
But
Because
see, Asuelo too, I mean, all right, he put Kalani in a candy store. She is like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
She's done taste a different flavor and she don't want to stop. You know what I'm saying? You took her virginity, you get married, you have 2 kids, you're cheating on her left and right, and then she finds out that you cheated on her, and then the way she found out, I mean, you had nasty stuff in your mouth, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then you give her the hall pass. I mean, you pretty much, you signed your own destiny right there.
Yeah.
She got a taste of something else, something new. And like she said, she's not going to stop.
Yep.
Well, you nailed it. 28 years old and she was a virgin. And she got married, only been with one guy. And then this guy tells you miraculously, you can go and try whatever flavor guy you want. I'm not going to get mad.
Yep.
And like you said, that's like sending a 6-year-old into the candy store with a $20 bill. Like, that's the worst possible thing you could, like, anything in that store is available and you can afford it. You can have, like, that was the worst possible outcome that he should have given her, because now that she knows what it's like without him, because let's just say Asuelo's not that great.
She said that.
Okay, so I didn't want to, like, verify. I don't want to, like, we're not, like, kicking Asuelo while he's down here.
Oh, yes,
but
I am.
Let's just say that this other...
He sucks in the bed, okay?
Yeah.
So
let's say this other guy is much more versed in pleasing women. Now, Kalani probably had no idea that there are men out there who focused only on the woman's needs, right? Because she said that Asuelo didn't think about her needs during their intimacy. It was just about him. As long as he got what he wanted, he would be fine and go to sleep. She's found a guy probably who's focusing on her needs and isn't worried about his needs at all. Now she's like, well, this isn't even something that I thought was possible to have. So now the bar is now set really high up here, and she has no reason to backslide and go backwards. She's like, well, I've already had filet mignon, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to fillet a fish.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't want to fillet a fish. I've had filet mignon. I'm good. I don't need to go back. There's no purpose of me working on anything. It's just not even that great. Even when we were happy, the sex wasn't even that great, right? She's probably looking at it like, there's no point of even beating a dead horse at this point. Maybe the check for the show was like, well, we can talk about it. You know, we can have a conversation. But I'm pretty sure Kalani came to this island in a relationship with this other guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the only reason I think he would be there, is because they're in a relationship. But since we know that she supposedly blocked him, they probably going to make it like he went to the island looking for her to see if she's okay or what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a reason to bring this guy. There's got to be a reason. But
I want to see
that's wrong. That's lower than Asuelo to do that.
Well, I'm worried about the reaction from Asuelo when he meets the guy, because he never met him. He's just, you know, he's a character that's in her phone. Like, I want to see how he reacts to seeing physically the guy who's going to take away his wife, right?
Imagine this overgrown baby comes walking at you and is, like, threatening you. I would just die laughing.
I know, right?
Like, I would be like, oh, did you get a boo-boo? I mean, I couldn't.
Oh my God.
He's least intimidating, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like no one is gonna, speaking of intimidating, we're gonna get into Ed saying that he's some sort of taekwondo master and he's gonna take you out. We'll get to that, but Asuelo is definitely not intimidating, but I do want to see how he's gonna react to this guy. I don't think there's gonna be a physical fight, because I feel like, well, maybe we wouldn't have seen a preview because they haven't really announced yet that the guy is going to be there, so maybe they're saving it I just would assume there would be a physical confrontation, right? I just feel like that's where we're going with that. When your wife brings her boyfriend to counseling, it's gonna be a fight, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that
And I hope
I would win because Oswaldo's more mouth than anything else. So
I've only seen a picture of the guy, so I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
But he'll probably win. Even if I didn't see the picture of him, I'm pretty sure he would still win. Asuelo's he's not a fighter. You know, he's definitely a lover. He's not a fighter. He's just most soft-spoken. It's funny because he said every time that they get into an argument, the thing he hates the most is she raises her voice. And I thought about it, and I was like, I've never heard
Asuelo
raise his voice.
because he
ever.
can't.
Wait,
He hasn't even hit puberty yet. This boy, like, it would just be a full-on temper tantrum. That's all.
He's never raised his voice once, which caught me off guard because he said that. He's like, she yells at me and I don't like when she raises her voice. I'm thinking, I've never heard this guy get like angry or raise his voice. He just kind of cries. Like when he gets really mad, there's no like screaming or yelling. He just starts crying and then that's it. So I was like, I totally get that, why he doesn't like to be yelled at, because he kind of feels like it's his mom yelling at him, right? I feel like it takes him back.
Child.
Yes, it takes him back.
yes, he is a grown 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is grown, but he's a 2-year-old. And so Angela and Michael are making strides. I don't know, because it's hard, because Angela and Michael are not able to participate in any of the actual stuff, because Angela participated with Jovi, which ironically Angela and Jovi were the most positive communicators of everyone, and they're not in a relationship. And I thought that was ironic, but also it rings true. The people that you need to trust the least or need the least are the people that you tend to trust the most.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's always how things are. The people that need you the most, you're there for them the least. And the people that, it's always the opposite. So I was like, ironically, Angela is going to be a good partner to someone who doesn't need her to be. And then when it comes to Michael, she's going to be the worst partner because he needs her to be a good partner. And that's kind of how relationships work. It's kind of fun to watch the counseling process. I like the scientific aspect of it, like learning trust and communication, because everybody always says, relationships are trust and communication, but nobody really knows what that looks like.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see how the blindfold tests and situations showed what the trust and communication would look like in a real life situation. Like if you need, because I'm not the type of person to trust people naturally, right? So like when I'm driving and I can't see and I'm ready to get over and the person in the passenger seat's like, you got it. I still look.
You bet.
Because I don't trust anyone, right? Okay, so it's like, and I know I'm not super damaged, but it's like, even though I trust that person would not get me killed, I still look just to make sure, absolutely, even though they told me nothing is there, you totally have enough room to get over, I still look over. And I'm the same way with everything. Like when people tell me I have their word, I still double check.
Yeah.
I'm just.
And you always have to say, I'm going to tell you this, don't tell anybody else. Even though you know that person's solid, they're never going to leak your secret. Yeah. You still have to say, just between me and you. Just between me.
All the time. And it's like, as humans, I think we're wired to not trust people.
Yeah.
Because we will have absolutely no reason to not trust people, and we won't trust them. Yeah. We'll doubt them in situations that we know that they won't let us down. We don't trust them. And it's like, I think that relationships have proven that we underestimate people and how much they love us and how much they support us. And I think that unfortunately it shows on the people that would do the most for us, we treat them the worst. And I think that this has really shown that, especially with Angela, because I feel like Angela and Michael have been through so much. And Michael, I'm not going to sit here and deter anything from what he did. He was talking to people, and we've seen text messages. We've seen it all.
Yeah.
But he has been there and supported Angela through everything. Even when she was in videos with Billy. Okay? Like,
Michael's just a freaking saint.
Well, at this point, he does look like a saint. And it's like, he has done what he did. He apologized. He's sorry. He supported Angela even when she was in all these TikToks with Billy and she was doing all these different things. He's been a really good person to her. So
he supported Angela when she cheated exactly the same way he cheated.
Yeah, talking to Billy. You're right. And so watching her finally fully understand both sides, because,
I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't think I'd say fully understand, because she acknowledges, but she still hasn't taken responsibility for her part with Billy. So Michael cheated online, and so did she. But she's been to Canada to see Billy. Michael didn't go anywhere to see anybody. So
yeah, that's
he's
true.
even more wrong. So she hasn't fully grasped the whole concept.
Hopefully Billy will come up in counseling, because like they said, everybody put everything out there on the table and get it out and fix it. Either fix it or move on, I think is what everybody's saying. So put it out there on the table, make sure that everybody is on the same page, and there can't be double standards. People can't do things and expect you not to do things. It has to go both ways. And I think the doctors are going to be able to decipher between that. Like, you can't tell a person that you can do whatever you want and they can't do anything. Like, I think that that's the biggest issue in a lot of these relationships. So I want to talk about Ed, because Ed was cheating in this. I know, I'm sorry, DeeDee, I know you do not want to talk about this, but the trust challenge, Liz was giving Ed direction. Ed is blindfolded, and apparently Ed could see perfectly fine. And he cheats through the obstacle course, and even Liz knew he was cheating, because halfway through she was like, he can see, and she just stopped giving him direction, because even Liz was like, I'll just give up on this man, right? Like, everyone at this point, everyone's just like, why even bother? There's no helping him. He's cheating during a trust challenge in therapy. Yep. There's no help for this man,
and in
right?
front of the therapist, he's cheating.
Yes, and even he said afterward, he was like, I just knew that I needed to win, and I would do anything to do that. I didn't think about, what the outcome was or what the purpose of this exercise was. I didn't think of that beforehand. I just wanted to win. And I think that's his major issue. Ed thinks about Ed. Ed wants to do what Ed wants to do. He doesn't care what Liz wants to do. He doesn't care what his actions bring to other people. Ed is always in Ed's mind, thinking of what he could do to improve Ed. And I think it's very obvious. And I think Liz even said in the hot tub, let's talk about the naked hot tub scene, right? So first of all, etiquette, for me, I don't like to get in public hot tubs or, pools either, but especially hot tubs, because they're very small, enclosed areas where people's body has been just constantly gurgled by the water. So, like, I don't know. It's just nasty to me. But Ed decides
that was the smallest hot tub on the planet. All I could see was Angela's nasty, dirty-ass feet and Ed's nasty everything sitting in a crock pot boiling together. That's all I could. And then you just throw in a Molly and a Kelly and a Liz, and you've got this whole stew of nasty. That's all it is. Just the stew of nasty.
It was literally a clown car.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's no way they're all going to fit in this hot tub, right? And as we keep in the scene, another person gets in, and I'm like, they're really all in this hot tub, to the point where the water's falling out. Everybody's in. I was like, first of all, Ed was just in there naked, so you couldn't give me $500 to get in that water. You'd have to change the water, okay? Like, no. And I know that swimming trunks aren't that thick, but still, I just can't be in there where he was bare-assed. I just can't do it. It's too much for me. There's not enough chlorine in the world, okay? So.
Oh, why are you so cheap? You always go for $200 or $500. Me and DeeDee are like, you can't give us $500 million. You're like, $500, no. Little bit more, maybe.
I mean, I think I make.
You gotta up your standards, George.
I think I make realistic bets. I don't think anybody's gonna give me $1 million, right? I don't think so.
They would offer it to me, and I would safely turn it down. So it would be. They'd be like,
look, let me tell you something, okay? All right, my turn now. First of all, why in the hell did he get naked in the first place? With his little Vienna sausage just like swinging all in the air. I mean, what was he trying to do? Give everybody some meat? I mean, You know what I'm saying? And then he's going to get into the hot tub. And then Angela's going to come up. And then he's just going to stand up out of the hot tub and just be flapping it all in the wind and stuff. Like, what the hell am I watching?
Also how is that not cheating on Angela's behalf when she shows her boobs to Ed and Liz? If Michael showed his stuff to anybody, that would be a cheat. But that's okay for her.
Yeah.
And then Angela said that Michael's was 3 inches bigger.
Oh, that was just.
I don't doubt that.
That was too much.
Oh my God.
But
Oh my God. I can't. I can't. Like, why would you even, like, and then Liz was just like laughing like it didn't even bother her. Okay, first of all, if I was going around, I'm telling people that my man got a Vienna sausage and, you know what I'm saying, they can't even satisfy me, why would I allow him to get in the hot tub butt naked and then a total stranger come over and then just stand up and just start shaking it in the wind like it's this huge, like, you know what I'm saying? Come on now, seriously? And then, yeah, like you said, then Angela's gonna like, who wants to see her titties? Who wants to see a grandma's titties? Like, seriously, people. Like, do y'all know how bad I was traumatized last night? Do y'all really
about you as I was watching it, wondering if
I
had recouped
was
from.
like, oh my God. Do y'all know how many times I threw up in my mouth? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Seriously. And then the people just keep piling on in there after he done put his meat sauce.
I'm telling you, it was a stew in a
Oh my God, I can't.
So many floating funguses. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. I can't.
And then they zoomed out on the top so you could kind of see down in the hot tub. And you could see the way Liz was sitting with her arm like this, but her legs are all bent. She's like in a Z shape. This little hot tub doesn't even have like a bench in it. They're all just kind of on their knees, hoping for the best. So if your leg swings out this way, God knows what you're going to touch. And if it swings out this way, God knows what you're going to touch. I would be hanging onto the outside of that with my dear life. Don't let me float.
Like, if Liz is worried about that cheating on her, she has definitely got some issues going on.
Nobody wants your man. We don't even know why you want him.
I'm confused by Liz because
just saying.
When he flashed Angela like a jealous girlfriend, I feel like that would be an issue. Like, let's say Brandon flashed somebody and Mary saw it, right? Like, I feel like we would be watching Snapped, like an episode of Snapped.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like things would have turned out way differently. So when I feel like Liz is not really as jealous as she leads on, because if you're really jealous and you think he's going to cheat, you don't want him out flashing anybody. I don't care if it's Angela or anyone.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of them doing anything like that would piss you off. And then Liz was just laughing about it. So I was just really confused by the whole situation. I was like, I feel like Liz should have told him, hey, that's really, and first of all, why are you naked in a public hot tub? Because if you look behind the hot tub, you could see people's rooms.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if you were the sad person who was looking out your patio door and you just caught a view of what was taking place in this public hot tub? I just felt horrible for whoever had to go through that, because this is a vacation, guys. They're on vacation. They paid to be there. And then you look out and Big Ed is naked outside your window. Like, who paid for that?
I want a full refund, and I need 8 years free. Also, you need to pay for my counseling, my new vision correction. There's so much shit I'm suing this place for. I can't. I cannot deal with them. I can't. Also, he throws his shorts in the sand next to the hot tub. Yeah. Then when everybody starts piling in, he reaches out, scoops them up, scoops all the sand in, and puts them on while he's in there. Like, not only are you already dirty and nasty, now you just brought in all this other shit too. Yeah. Like, he's so stupid.
This guy, right? Like, I really want to believe there's a human being in there somewhere. Like, he's a normal person deep down. It's just really hard, right? You know how your parents are like, find something nice to say about your brother or say something nice about your sister.
About this one,
Right.
No.
You just sit there like,
The only thing I can say, I can actually say something nice about Big Ed. His mom is adorable.
oh,
And that's all I got.
yeah. I love his
Yeah,
mom.
his mom is a cutie
I
pie.
love
His mom is a cutie pie. I love his mom. She is really, really sweet. And on top of that, why is Ed and Liz giving couple advice?
You're
And
right.
who in the hell? Why is it in Ed's head that they are the favorite couple on that show?
Oh yeah, they said that they're
It was talked about.
yeah, they said that they're the most wait, what's the word? They're most likely to succeed, right? Out of all the couples, which I thought was funny. So I was like, the only way y'all are the most likely to succeed is if you're faking all your problems. Because if your problems are real, y'all are pretty much already broken up, and the divorce is like already started before you got married, right? Like I feel like if y'all are the best of the best here, there's something wrong with this story, because the way that he speaks to Liz is just insane to me. And I'm not like a huge fan of either one, but I just really wish that Liz demanded more, right? I just feel like she doesn't demand enough, because I was always taught people will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And Ed treats her horribly. And I know that she's starting to speak up, but I feel like the behavior has been going on for so long. It's really difficult for someone to unlearn this type of behavior. I feel like the behavior has been going on for a really long time. And I just want her to want more for herself. And I know that it's a matter of her learning, you know, why she allows him to treat her this way, why she thinks she deserves it or whatever, that there's work, you know, in that to be done. But the way that he talks to her and belittles her and says things about her weight and her age, and it just really, it's staggeringly scary to think that she's living in that environment every day. Yeah. Right? Like she's dealing with those type of comments, that type of treatment on a daily basis. It's really scary.
Yeah.
First of all, who in the hell is he to say anybody is fat?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Right?
Okay.
And then
I mean,
he said that she was a ripe age of 30. Remember in the first episode, he was like, oh, and she's all ripe, old, and 30 or something. I'm like, see, everything that he says about her has to be negative. And I don't care if you're joking or not. There's a good and bad way to joke, right? There's a tasteful way to tell a joke. And I feel like every time he says something, it's in poor taste. It's offensive, and it can be taken the wrong way. And even when he was talking about her weight back on Happily Ever After, he's like, oh, you used to be really thin, or you used to be really skinny. That's such a nasty thing to say to somebody. Yeah. Like, there's a better way to say things, and I feel like he just says whatever comes to his mind, like a child. Basically like a child. You know, when a child walks up to a person and the person's in a wheelchair and they're like, what's wrong with your legs? Like, children don't know to think about how you say it because they're children. They don't realize that but I feel like Ed behaves in the exact same way. He doesn't think about how he's going to say it and how it can be perceived. He just says whatever comes out of his mouth.
Especially since he's a freaking weeble wobble. Literally. Like, he is a weeble wobble. Also, whose genius idea was it to say, here's a shit show with 5 of the most dangerous ingredients we can put in this stew, and we are going to fill it with alcohol. This is going to end so well. So I can't until Ed gets his ass beat.
Oh my!
So let's talk about.
I was hoping Kelly reached over there and whooped his ass. Yeah. I was like, kick his ass, Kelly. Kick his ass, Kelly.
So let's talk about Kelly's self-control, which I think is high because he's a police officer. Yeah. And, you know, he's dealing with a bunch of, he dealt with a bunch of a-holes all day, every day. Yeah. So your self-control has to be really high because your first mind is saying, punch this person. But your professional mind is saying, cuff this person. So I feel like Kelly definitely had a good sense of self-control, but there's only so much that disrespect and ignorance a person can take. We're all human, right? And the way that Ed talks to him, he called him a bitch twice. Mm-hmm. And I think Molly said it. She was like, you need to be careful of calling another man the B word. She was like, you're going to end up getting yourself hurt. She was like, you say that word as though it's not extremely offensive. Extremely offensive. Say, and I know that it's been, what's the word, desensitized. Like a lot of times people use the word, like I know some of my girlfriends, female friends, call their other friends the B word, and it's not offensive, it's funny.
Yeah.
But I think when men call each other that word, it's not necessarily desensitized, it's pretty offensive still.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like,
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Kelly probably first mind was to punch him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I feel like that's exactly where his first mind was. But then he's like, there's cameras here, you know, there's people here. I know the law very well. I worked in law enforcement. I know where I'll end up if I punch this man in the face. And but I feel like Ed's, the way that he disrespected Kelly reminds me of the way that he disrespects everybody.
Yeah.
No one is safe around this man. He's so rude. He's so disrespectful. And he's also fearless, which I think is really interesting. He's like, I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of anyone. I think that's interesting to be someone of his height who says crazy, disrespectful things to people as though somebody won't punch you. Like, where is his fear?
Because I promise it's because there's cameras around, and he's got the same mindset. If somebody freaking hits me, they're going to jail. So he can run his mouth all he wants as long as there's cameras around. But if you were to bump into somebody outside and call them a bitch, call me a bitch. I will kick your
I wouldn't care. Let me be around Big Ed and let him call me a bitch.
Yep.
I will show you a bitch.
Yep.
I was scared to jail.
I was very shocked at his bold attitude. I was just like, you're asking a lot to hope other people will have their self-control in check. Because I know he like you said, he knows there's cameras around, there's probably security, there's probably production that will jump in. But that was a pretty close space in that hot tub. It only took an arm's length, right? Like probably faster than somebody could come and break it up, you would have got hit in the face a couple times.
Yeah.
So he was pretty bold. And I think that the way that he feels like he can talk to people any type way he wants is just, it's crazy to me. And it might come from him just being Big Ed, you know, with 500,000 followers, and, you know, he's known all over. He goes out, people know. Maybe it comes from that. I'm not exactly sure, but calling men the B word, I mean, you call the wrong woman a B word. I'm just going to be honest with you. If she don't know you like that, you might get knocked out. Like, honestly, he's really treading on thin ice. And then we saw in the preview, something happened after this episode ended, and Angela was all up in Liz's face. Did we catch that? And she was like, I
hope
you.
Angela whoops her tail. I hope she gets it.
Well, you know, Angela has always had an issue with Liz. Because
Yep.
we learned that on the tell-all from Happily Ever After, that Angela and Liz don't mesh well at all. And even when Kim tried to pull them together and it didn't work. Angela's just like, I don't like her. I can't deal with her. And I think that Liz tried to say that Angela cut her off when she was talking, which is interesting because that's the only thing Ed does to anyone.
Yeah.
So, and I think Angela, you know, Angela was Angela. She was like, don't say I did something that I didn't do. Like, you can say anything you want about me. You can call me names if I did it, whatever. Don't say anything I didn't do. And she went after her, and it got pretty intense. It looked like Angela chased her all the way back to the room because Liz ran. Because I feel like Liz is a cop caller, right? I feel like Liz will say something to you, and then she'll grab her phone and call the cops on you. Do you feel like that? I feel like Yara's like that too, right? I don't know. I feel like Yara might do that too. She'll call you a name, and then she'll like call the cops, like, this crazy person's trying to punch me.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and first of all, you know, they all got into the hot tub, and they were talking, and then they were all asking each other questions, and Big Ed wouldn't even let nobody talk. Mm-hmm. He had to keep talking over everybody, and that right there is what really made Angela, Molly, and Kelly pissed off too, because Molly even said, "You're not letting anybody talk. You're not letting me answer the questions that are being asked directly to me. You're more worried about over talking people." And then whenever they all started, he's talking about he does I've never heard of that. And Molly asked Kelly, she was like, "What does that mean?" Kelly was like, "I don't know. He's going to do some cartwheels over here."
Yeah.
I mean, Like, what, who's a Yo Don or something like that? What is that?
Yeah.
I think it's some sort of martial arts, a form of martial arts. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know though. Like honestly, I don't know. Whatever he does, he says he's good at it. He can take somebody out. I've never seen him take anybody out. So Kelly is definitely. He said you get one, right? I think Kelly said like Spider-Man. Everybody gets one.
Yeah.
After that one, you might come in contact with my fist. Possibly. Just being honest with you, after that one time, you might have to deal with me. And the cameras aren't always going to be on. Ed has to realize they are all living in this resort together. The camera crew has to sleep at some point. So be careful what you say to people, because the person holding the camera does have to go to sleep for a while. So just be sure to know everyone who's protecting you while you're talking crazy to these people won't always be there to protect you. And I think that's important to know, because Ed has basically made enemies since he's gotten there with everybody, which this isn't strange for Ed. Everywhere that Ed goes, he makes enemies with everyone.
Yeah.
Because he said on the first episode, he's like, well, now I have to spend 2 weeks with all these people that I basically made hate me at the last tell-all. And it's like, this is what you do, man. You walk into the room, and it's like you have a bet with yourself, how long until I can get everyone in this room to hate me?
Yeah.
Right? That's what he does.
And it takes about 0.2 seconds for that to happen.
It's instant. It's literally instant. He opens his mouth and he says 2 things. Everybody in the room is ready to throw something at this guy. It's definitely a behavior that he needs to work on in therapy, right? I feel like his behavior of being the center of attention all the time is just something that he has to work on, because being an adult and in an adult relationship, you're not always going to be the center of attention. You're in a relationship. Attention shifts between everyone. And being in a group therapy session, you can't cut off everybody and just talk about you. It's not all about you. Everybody is there for their own thing. It's not just about you. And honestly, do they really care what you have to say? They're there to work on their own stuff. So Ed is under the impression that people are interested in knowing what he has to say. And it's like, I don't think they're really there to hear about what you have to say. They're there to work on their issues so they can go home in a better place than when they arrived. And I think Ed is not focused on improving himself or his relationship. He's more so there to just have fun. And I think that, that's the issue. This isn't a vacation.
Yep.
Well,
nobody's there to work a relationship.
And who does he think he is anyway to give anybody any kind of advice? First of all, if he is really going to therapy, his therapist needs to be fired. Because
probably
no way that man is in therapy and acting and treating people the way he treats people. No way.
I'm going to say this. There are some therapists that tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I know that therapy is supposed to help you, but I know that there's such thing as a bad therapist.
Yeah.
There are some therapists who don't help you improve yourself. They just tell you what you want to hear. I've heard stories where therapists have basically told people, oh, you're right in this situation, and everyone else just doesn't understand you, and you're just misunderstood. You're not the problem. Other people don't fully understand what you're trying to say. There is such thing as a bad therapist, and I'm not going to, I don't know any names, or I'm not going to throw anything out there, but I think there's some therapists don't understand the importance and how vital it is to hold everyone accountable for their actions in therapy. The first thing you need to do in therapy is learn to hold yourself accountable. Accountability should be step one.
Yeah.
If things happen to you in a pattern, you have to take your accountability in how those situations keep happening to you. And I think some therapists, they're yes people. Like they're like, oh yeah, you did the right thing and you should do this and you're doing it right. Keep doing this. That is not always the most productive way to grow and progress.
Well, that therapist needs to be fired.
Or take a class, take a refresher class. I think a lot of times people do a job for a long time and they like the rapport that they have with certain clients. And it's more of a friendship than a therapy session, I think. Because when you see a therapist for a long time, you build a good rapport and you have like almost a friendship. And therapists have to remember, this is not your friend. This person is here for help. You have to help them and you have to say things to them that they might not want to hear.
Yeah.
And I think once they, see a person for a long time, especially, and I think when you're famous too, therapists, they're human, right? So they look
Yeah.
at it like, oh, this is a famous person that I'm treating. So they don't necessarily always say what they should. You know, like there's a lot of yes people around Michael Jackson when he was alive. There's a lot of yes people. And I think that those people, they're human. So it's like, yeah, they're medical professionals, but they're also a person who might be a little starstruck and not tell you exactly what they should be telling you.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, we all know about being starstruck because the way Angela was acting with her doctor, we all know she had an affair with him. So
Yeah. Oh, wasn't he the same doctor that Yara used too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And she literally made that comment on this last episode. I don't even remember who said what, but she says, I got a doctor.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember Angela was a little offended that Yara used the doctor and didn't say anything to her, right? Wasn't that the story? Like Yara got in touch with the doctor, he did her boobs, and Angela's like, how interesting, you use the same doctor as me and we've never talked about it. But I don't think Angela and Yara have ever had like a pretty friendly relationship, right? I don't feel like that would be a phone call, right? That Yara would make to Angela. Yeah, after Angela got in Yara's face.
I mean,
yeah, I think that Angela. Oh, and did you catch that? She said, "Oh, me and Molly live about 2 hours away or less, and we've never gotten together. Why not?" And so, what is the deal with that? A lot of people said that there was animosity between them, or a lot of people just said that they didn't want to get together. What do you think the deal is? Because they seem to get along fine. Do you think it was a lot of like perception? And when they met each other, they didn't realize that they would have a lot in common or not? Because I was wondering that, because they do live really close together.
But Angela,
I live around 40 minutes from Angela. She lives like right down the road from me.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
That's a shit pot DeeDee doesn't want to dip her spoon in. So can I blame Molly? Like,
I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, maybe it was a perception thing. Molly maybe looked at it like she always has a lot going on around her. And I don't know if I want to insert myself into that bubble.
Angela brings negative attention where Molly tries to bring positive attention.
Yeah.
So you put them two together, I mean, that's not a good recipe.
Yep. And both of them have no filter. So if you get them out in public,
Yeah.
it's going to be really...
That's true. But I feel like they probably will see each other again after this filming is over, right? Do you feel like that? I feel like once they ripped the Band-Aid off and they saw each other and met, it's almost unfathomable that they've both been such massive names in the 90 Day franchise and they haven't met until now. Yeah. It's almost unfathomable. And then to put them in the same state so close together, it's almost insane that they haven't met.
Yeah.
Doesn't Rebecca from Rebecca and Zayed also live in that area?
Yeah.
Yeah, me, Angela, Rebecca, and Molly, we live within an hour, 2 to 3 hours away from each other. Well, Angela is about 40 minutes from me. So between 40 minutes and 3 hours, I'm right there with all three of them.
Wow. So close together. And we never see them together. It's just really weird to me. Like, there's people that I really love, and if they lived really close to me, we would always be together, right? So it's just interesting to me.
If you like each other. If you you don't, like, I don't like Angela, so there is no way. And she knows my family that lives there, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, no,
I don't have my teacup. I don't know. Okay. I didn't know that. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Hazelhurst, Georgia. Hazelhurst, Georgia is like, you blink your eyes, you miss the whole town. So everybody knows everybody. So yeah, like the town I live in, it's got bigger now. It's growing, but it used to be a small town.
Yeah.
So everybody knows everybody here, and everybody knows everybody's business.
I'm in a very small town, so I get that.
Interesting. I mean, I don't think I'm in a small town, actually. My town's pretty big. I don't know anybody.
The population of my town is 2,500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think the population of my, suburb is, 70,000.
Yeah. Well, the town where I was born and
Tourist
raised.
area, so
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a lot. There's people everywhere. You can't even go to Walmart. Like,
Yeah.
I told my friend, I was like, I have to park like 17 blocks away and then walk to the Walmart because the parking lot is so busy. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I basically should just park at my house and walk.
Yeah.
Because that's how it's like insane. It's like going to a Taylor Swift concert. Basically, there's like police directing traffic at the Walmart. It's just that's how
terrible.
it's. I know, right? Okay,
See,
so
I live close to the town that I was born and raised in. It's only about 25 minutes away, and it's a very big city. So I'm just outside of that, avoiding all of that unless I have to. But all of my doctors and stuff are still there, so like I have to go there.
yeah, you can't really live in the country, right? Because I feel like everything isn't centrally located.
Right.
You do have to go to the city for something.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the biggest city that I'm close to is Tallahassee. Tallahassee is like about 45 minutes to an hour from me.
Yeah.
So, and then you already know how far I am from you, George. I'm not that far from you either.
Yeah.
So I'm probably about 2 hours from you. So I'm right here in between a lot of people.
And I'm
Yeah.
all the way out of the world.
Well, that's it for this one. We're going to come back and talk about what's the next one. Before the 90 days. Before 9 days on Sunday. I'll be traveling on Sunday for work, but I should be available. I'm going to try to travel earlier in the day, so we'll be good for the show that night. But Monday, we'll talk about it. I think there's going to be some issues because I'm going to be traveling while the show is on. So there's going to be some issues. So we'll get into that. So I'll update everyone on what's going on, what our plan of action is for next week. So before the 90 days, the other way, and the last resort, we have a triple whammy of shows on right now, and they're bringing all types of drama. So thank you to my co-hosts, Cara and DeeDee. Make sure you're following both of them. They're tagged in this video. And follow me at George Mossey on all social media platforms, georgemossey.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, The George Mossey Show. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to all of you guys very soon.
Bye.
Bye.